everybody, welcome to the Comic and Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and it is good to be back. Sorry about my voice and how I sound. I got up pretty early to watch Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, The Marshal. Now, it's so good to be back watching this, and it occurred to me right when I got up this morning. And like, there are events sometimes, and this happens to me a lot in my life, where I get up early. Like, it started when I was a child, when we'd be going on a field trip and have to get up early in the morning, and usually I'm tired, I don't want to get up, I don't want to be going to school, but then it's like, well, it's a field trip, you're going to be out of the school the entire day, it's basically just a fun day, and you get to go, and I would just rise up out of the bed like Nosferatu, and just energy would erupt. And the same thing happens to me when I'm going to go see something or watch something that I've been anticipating. When I was going to go see Avengers or Endgame or any of the Marvel movies, I am excited that day. I am giddy. When I'm going to go see any big movie, I'm pretty giddy, like a movie that I've been anticipating. When I'm going to go somewhere, I'm pretty giddy. When I'm going to go talk to a girl or something, it's that feeling. And it's been a bit since I've had that feeling, because I can't go to the movies, so that's been cut off from me. And I haven't been going out to, like, I don't go to field trips anymore, and there hasn't really been too many shows that are coming out that I'm like, I can't wait to see. Most of the shows that have come out since and like this whole year, most of them have been like, oh, like Umbrella Academy was something for me, Witcher obviously, but most of them are like, I can't. Well, most of them always tend to be like, oh, I can't wait to see it when it comes out, and I checked it out when it came out. This though, Mandalorian Season 2, I woke up at 6 a.m. Went to bed at 12, woke up at 6 a.m. And I only woke up for something else. But then something clicked in the back of my head that says, Mandalorian's out. And I went and watched it immediately. And Episode 1, The Marshal, it's as good as you think it is. It's a damn good opener. It's a damn good Mandalorian episode. I will say this, like, it's one of the best, but like, I don't think it's better than any of the top. Like, I don't think it's better than Episode 8 or 7 or Episode 2 or Episode I guess that'd be Episode 3. Like, it's not better than Season 1. It's on par. So like, if Season 1 was like a 9, if Season 1 was like a 9, then this just continues. It's just like a perfect continuation. It feels like if you watch the entirety of Season 1 and then you watch this, it just feels like a continuation. It just feels like it feels like a continuation. It doesn't feel like it's behind, doesn't feel like it's surpassed it, like it raised the bar. It feels like it met the bar. You know, that's what I would describe this episode, the first episode, Season 1, Season 2, Episode 1, The Marshal. I would describe it as it meeting the Mandalorian's bar. It met its bar. It was like, yep, we're back in this universe. There was something comfortable about it. When I'm watching it, I'm like, I'm back. The score was great by Ludwig Göransson, and it's a bit different too. He had a little bit more drums, a little bit more beat, and a little bit more of that old school Western, like ding ding ding. He kind of added that guitar in a bit too. He added a little bit more of that guitar. He added a little bit more of those drums in the beginning too. They kind of just like put over like that, because in the beginning, Mando was kind of in this, you know, bad area, bad neighborhood, bad town, and another cold open, just like the first episode of Mandalorian Season 1, with Mando coming into this scummy, disgusting area, but this time he has Baby Yoda with him, and or the child, depending on who you ask. He comes in this scummy, you know, area that's pretty shitty. You see these creatures like off in the dark, and like see graffiti all over the place. This is clearly not a good place. This is clearly not an A-class establishment. He goes into this area. He goes into this fight pit. This fight pit is clearly some gang shit going on. Flags all over the place. And he talks to the main guy who runs the place, trying to find out where. So you discover right here at the beginning, he's trying to find out where the other Mandalorians are, because he feels like if I find other Mandalorians, maybe they can help point me in the right direction to find where Baby Yoda's kind are, because that's the task he was tasked with at the end of Season 1, was to find the Baby Yoda's kind, or find Jedi to give it to. One or the other, but got to find its kind in general. So he's thinking, you know what, maybe if I find some other Mandalorians, I'll be able to, they'll be able to point me in the right direction. So he finds this guy in this bar. I can't remember the character's name. I know it's played by it's voiced by John Leguizamo, which you know who John Leguizamo is. You've seen him in plenty of things. Last thing I saw him in was the last thing I saw John Leguizamo in, it was John Wick. That's what I saw him in, John Wick. But yeah, you've seen John Leguizamo in many things. John Wick. He's been all over the board. Yeah. But and it was cool because it was like a traditional setup of he goes in here, he just wants information, things go south, he kills all these guys, beats the shit out of them, hangs John Leguizamo's character up, this alien with this one eye up on a fucking post, just hangs him up with the wire and gets him to tell him the information, and then that was kind of badass. He did some badass, man. It was really hardcore, where he's just like, I won't kill you with my own hands. And I knew it right when he said that, right when he was like, please don't kill me. He was like, I won't kill you with my own hands. I was like, he's gonna kill you, but not with his own hands. And he walks away, shoots out the light, so it's dark, and the alien is just sitting there like, wait, don't leave me, as those creatures in the night with the red eyes start circling him, clearly ready to eat him alive, and Mando walks off in the distance like a badass. That was an awesome opening. But the information he got led him to go back to Tatooine, because he was said that there's a Mandalorian there, or at least there's someone in Mandalorian armor. Which leads to one of the best fan services of all time, which is Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth is a character that was created in the Star Wars Aftermath books. And he's it's not, like those books, I don't believe those books are considered canon, but those books aren't considered canon. But the character is now. They pretty much did the same thing with Thrawn, and because Thrawn had the Admiral Thrawn had that whole book series about him and all the shit he was doing, and they made him canon in Rebels. Like, so pretty much, like, basically what Star Wars is doing is cherry picking what characters from what books they want to be canon. But it's gotta be great for the guy who wrote those books and created it, because now his character is completely canon. His character's on screen, played by Timothy Olyphant, aka you've seen Timothy Olyphant in many things. He was in Justified. He's the lead in Justified. If you need an idea of who Timothy Olyphant is, he's the lead in Justified. I've seen him in a ton of things over the years. You know him when you see him. You're like, I know that guy. I know who he is. Yeah, he was the lead in Justified. That was the show that I know him from the most. But yeah, and he's playing Cobb Vanth. He's got Boba Fett's armor. It's clearly Boba Fett's armor, like the color scheme and everything, but it looks kind of damaged and fucked up. So Mando goes out there, but like I said, score is hitting on all cylinders. But the show also sort of shows Mando's growth, because when he gets there, he meets that lady that he met on Tatooine the first time he went there in the Gunslinger episode, who was like really like, who was really enamored with Baby Yoda. He meets her, and not only was he willing to let the little robots work on his ship, it was showing his growth. He's willing to like, he trusts her as well. And it's clearly, and he's a lot friendlier than it's clear that he hasn't lost his edge. Clearly, the opening scene kind of shows it. He's still Mando, but he is a little softer. He's softer. He's growing as a person. He's willing to let those robots work on his ship, whereas in the first season, he would do everything to avoid working with drones. He's willing to let drones work on his ship now, so he's grown as a person. But they just keep showing that he knows how to interact with the goddamn sand people. So, the Tusken Raiders, he knows how to interact with the Tusken Raider. He can speak their sign language. So, so it's just this awesome, awesome, old school Western. Him on the speeder bike with Baby Yoda in the saddle, and then just kind of going through the desert, and him sitting around the fire talking to the Tusken Raiders. It's old school Western shit. And I love it. Like I said, the theme, Ludwig Göransson's music in this is just so good with the Western motif. It just works on all cylinders. So he gets there, meets Cobb Vanth. He thinks Cobb Vanth is a Mandalorian. Turns out he's not. He's just a dude who has Mandalorian armor. That kind of sparks a little bit of tension, because basically Mando's like, you can't have that armor. You're not a Mandalorian. That means you can't wear the armor. And Cobb's like, but I need this armor. And they kind of have a sudden kind of standoff. He has this kind of badass line that I thought was pretty cool. And Cobb's just like, are we gonna do this in front of the baby? And Mando's just like, he's seen worse. He's seen worse. This is like, damn. Okay. I was like, this is gonna be bad. I was like, okay. And then this rumble happened. And this giant thing under the ground just comes through the middle of the town and eats one of their, like, you know, giant, I don't know what I can't remember the name of that thing is, but this giant, like, kind of looks like a buffalo and a, like, it's like a giant buffalo. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it kind of looks like a buffalo. It looks like a giant buffalo with huge horns. Whatever that thing is, I don't know the name of that creature, but it eats it, and then it disappears back into the ground and goes off again. I mean, that thing's so massive, it made the entire area, the entire town, little town shake. And right then and there, they kind of have their moment where they're like, okay, how about this? And, you know, Cobb comes to a conclusion. How about this? How about this? You help me get rid of that creature because that creature's been terrifying, been terrorizing us for years. You help us get rid of that creature, and I'll give you the armor. Because, like, Cobb has logical, he's like, look, eventually this thing comes through and eats our livestock, and most of the time when it eats our livestock, it takes the fucking, the minerals that we mine to, pay for everything in this town. It takes that with them. So not only is it hurting us financially, it's hurting our growth of our town. Eventually this thing's gonna start taking off people too. Like once it starts going through the livestock, it's gonna start showing up and eating people. So we gotta do something about him. And Mando agrees, honorable guy. He's like, you know what? That's fair. I'll help you deal with that thing and you give me the armor. So they're off to go deal with it. Cobb, Vamp, and Mando, and Cobb kind of tells his tale about how he got the armor and about why he got the armor and about how, and they kind of show more collateral damage of the fall of the Empire. They show that like once again they show that not everything was fucking peachy dory, peaches and cream when the Empire fell. Like when the Empire fell, apparently some people took, like some lower people, like organizations, criminals and stuff, who were, not criminals, but other organizations who were afraid to make moves because of the Empire. Now that the Empire's gone, they made moves. And, it kind of shows that, there's more going on than just, yeah, we beat the Empire. And it's like, yeah, you beat the Empire, but now there are people there were other criminals and other bad people who are being smothered out by the Empire that now that the Empire's gone have the opportunity to try to gain some ground. There's a power void now. So down there, when there's a power vacuum and there's no immediate, thing that's going to take its place, chaos erupts. And it kind of shows that in the show as Cobb Vanth talks about his, how he got his armor and, when he, became the marshal of this town. But as they're riding out to go deal with this thing, they run into the Sand People. And it's pretty much made apparently clear that the townsmen, the towns that Cobb Vanth is like the protector over, and the Sand People do not get along. Apparently, not too long ago, they had a huge thing. The Sand People tried to raid the town, and they killed a bunch of the settlers, and the settlers killed a bunch of the Sand People. Killed a shit ton of the Sand People. So there's like this tension there between them. And, there's like Cobb doesn't know how he feels about it. But Mando, tries to ease the tension between the two. The raiders know him. And he's just like, okay, guys, we're gonna have to. And it turns out that the Sand People want to kill this thing as much as them. It's called, I can't remember. It's basically called a dragon. This fucking sand thing. And think Tremors. That's basically what this episode becomes. It's Tremors, only on a massive scale because this thing is huge. It's so big that it's settled in a Starlack pit. And if you don't remember the Starlack, how big that damn Starlack thing was, it was pretty big. And like, it's kind of hinted that this fucking dragon ate the damn thing. So it's like, man, that's freaking nuts. That is nuts. So, long story short, eventually they become to work together and they come up with a plan to take this thing out. Eventually they work their way around and taking it out, working together, coming up with the plan. It's a fun, action-packed episode. The CGI on this creature is amazing. The CGI throughout the show was amazing. Had some awesome action sequences, especially when Cobb and Mando are both flying in the air and trying to shoot this damn thing. And even the way Mando ended up taking it out made perfect sense. They brought a shit ton of explosives with them because they do mine, so they have explosives to do that. So they brought a shit ton of explosives with them, and at a certain point, they came up with this great plan to like attack the belly. Did not work. Kind of knew it wasn't gonna work because the episode would just end right there. Mando did his best. All right, I'm gonna pull some Mando shit. I don't know, and he took the detonator because like all the bombs were on this one creature, on one of those giant buffalo creatures I was talking about, And he was just like, well, there's only really one. Well, you can't attack it from the outside, so I gotta go in. And he got it to eat him and this creature that had all the bombs attached to it. And then he fucking shocked it from the inside, jet-packed out like a boss. And when he was high enough, blew that motherfucker up from the inside and landed like a badass. It was really badass. I was like, Mando doing Mando things, and it was really cool too because it was set up that his gun can shock things big as shit. Because the first episode that you ever see was him shock that giant, mouthed walrus-looking thing. So this thing has some juice when it comes to shocking. So I was curious how he was gonna get it out. And in my mind, I was like, okay, if he's going to set the explosives off while he's in there, I'm not willing to buy. And I was ready to complain. I'm not going to lie. I was ready to complain. I was like, I'm not willing to buy that he just survived these explosions. I know he's got Beskar armor on, but I'm not willing to buy that he just survived this explosion. Like, that's a lot of explosives that went inside that thing's belly. I'm like, yeah, he just survived because of the Beskar. No, I'm not willing to buy that. So I was ready to, like I said, I was ready to complain. And then I saw the lightning come around the thing's mouth and the thing open up and him go whoop. And I was like, I like that. That makes sense. And he just beep, boom, thing blew up, landed, over. The Raiders are at peace with the settlers. The settlers no longer have to worry about this giant creature that's, been terrorizing them. Cobb gives them the armor and Mando rides off into the twin sunset like the lone outlaw that he is. But then, the camera pans, and there's Boba Fett. The actor who plays Boba Fett. And I'm going to go on a limb. Some people are like, well, the actor clone, because the actor who plays Boba Fett plays like Jango Fett, and, I think his name's like Tamara Morrison or something like that. And he's played, he's played multiple different clones. So it's like, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that's Boba Fett without the helmet on. I'm going on that limb because of the scars. He has scars on his head, really burn marks, bad scarring. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's because he escaped that Starlight Pig. Boba Fett was watching the whole time. And he walked off. Why was Boba watching? What is his plans for the Mando? What's going to happen the next episode? I don't know, but I can't wait to see. I give this episode a 9 out of 10. It was fantastic. It was fun. It was fun. It was joyful. It was adventurous. It was a Western. It was just an old school Western, man. And I see some people complaining because some people are like, oh, well, I didn't do this plot and this plot and this plot. I already see the bandwagon coming together to be like, oh, it's just a filler episode. I already see it. Because, like I say, people are so used to episodes being so episodic. I mean, not episodic. Together, just like a big movie, like, oh, well, like people are so used to that, and they're not really used to the episodic nature of The Mandalorian, and I was afraid that it was going to lose some of its episodic nature, but I am so happy to tell you guys it kept it. This was like a nice little isolated episode. I'm glad that it kept that vibe because I was scared it wasn't going to do it, and that was one of my favorite things. Is like every week I don't know what this episode's going to take up and what the theme and the tone of this episode's going to be, and I'm still happy they kept that. I give Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1, The Marshal, 9 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching the Come Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.